Welcome to Muscle and Money, the podcast for gym owners aiming to elevate their business. I'm your host, Andres Fujic. Join us as we explore top strategies of the fitness entrepreneurs, uncovering the blueprints of their achievements and offering actionable advice to increase revenue, boost retention rates, and expand your locations. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your operations, Muscle and Money is your go-to resource. Let's build stronger businesses one episode at a time. Welcome everybody. Today on a live podcast, I have a joy and pleasure to introducing Kely. Kely directly coming from Alloy Personal Training. And guys, as you know, we're interviewing incredible people. Today, we have somebody who's loved by everybody, loved by whole brand. Rick Mayo recommended Kely to come on the board and speak about his success because he is absolutely the best in the whole chain. But not only that, we have Kely who is here as well, representing really his shining stars on Google. If you analyze every location of Alloy Personal Training, Kely is absolutely the far above everybody when it comes to 5-star rating. You, Kely, reached out 90 plus reviews. And quite frankly, if you sort it out by the oldest, this happens like a year ago. So it's not something that you're building for 10 years. You build it incredible. Google loves you. You're on the first page of Google when people search for personal training in your city. I'm blessed to have you here. Welcome to the call, Kely.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks for the introduction and an honor to be here.
Pleasure. Kely, you have something that people want to know. But before we talk about it, I really want to know about your story. Right. Tell me, how did you get here? Like, why personal training? Why Alloy? Like, tell us a little bit story about yourself.
Yeah, I've got a sort of a unique background, I guess, when it comes to this sort of industry, depending on how far we want to go back. I graduated in 2008 with a mechanical engineering degree, went into the industry for about 10 years and just kind of lacked passion for that, right? I was reading more fitness and exercise books and reading articles and educate myself in that arena more so than I was in engineering. So that was a clear sign that maybe it was time to pursue a little bit different path. Also was a former athlete, played college football as a wide receiver. And so, put 1 and 2 together, right? Really kind of made sense to pursue fitness as a passion. And so did that on the side for a couple of years, got my feet wet, just doing one-on-one personal training in a typical box club, seeing how I would enjoy it and those sorts of things. And if it truly did make sense to pursue that as more of a career opportunity. And during that time, a good buddy of mine, his name is Dan Collector, he owns a gym out in the Seattle area. He kind of introduced me to more of this like functional training, boutique style gym. And that was the training that I like to do. It was more movement based and just kind of got outside of like the typical machine based fixed equipment, bigger box gym clubs that we're all familiar with. And sure. Fast forward into 2017, I decided to open my own brick and mortar studio, utilized him as more of like a consulting partner, if you will, just to kind of help with the operational side and really understand how the gym business operates. And so he convinced me to take the leap. I took the leap in 2017, operated my own independent studio for a period of about 5 years called Kinetic Fitness in my hometown in Montana. Mm-hmm. And through that experience, really got to know people around the industry, got introduced to Rick Mayo at that time through my friend, and kind of really admired the Alloy personal training brand and modeled a lot of things that we did after what they were doing at the time. This is when they ran a licensed only version of their model.
Yep.
And then obviously in 2019, they decided to move into franchising and kind of power their own brand versus the golds and any times that they were doing before. And so we were really kind of ear to the ground and saw what they were doing and took first movers advantage and said like, hey, is this a possibility for us to set up shop on one of these things, right? And mm-hmm. I'm more of in a rural type of environment, right? We're in Montana, smaller communities, things like that, right? We're not in Chicago, New York, or LA or anything like that. So being one of the first entrants, Rick helped me get one set up. That's the one mm-hmm. that you're looking at now in Billings, Montana. We've had mm-hmm. that open since January of 2022. So a little over 2 years old in that facility. Things are going really great today. And then we are actually in process for opening a second location down in the Denver, Colorado territory.
What do you see? So, that's a great story. Kely, what do you see as a difference running as a part of a big organization like Alloy versus going on your own, building a one
sure.
brand?
Yeah, I mean, geez, if you're doing your own independent studio type of thing, you've got a million and one different ideas, right? I think being part of a franchise system, and one of the advantages for me personally is that it makes me color within the lines, right? So I can't change my mind tomorrow and go throw 10 different things in, right? We could be doing nutrition, or we can add in another
Mm,
stretching program, and
and
you
the shiny
start getting,
object.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, let's just stay with our core focus, and obviously trusting the franchise to make, good strategic decisions there. But I mean, really, we're offering one flavor, right? And that's
Hmm.
small group personal training at this point. So I really think having that, and also the resources, other operators in the system that you can leverage their experience, cross share ideas, best practices, those are advantages. And then I think obviously there's the brand power and strength,
Got
right?
it.
A certain appearance, brand standards, a facility within a certain location that you have to build within. So all those
Mm.
things added together
And you don't
seem
feel
to make
alone when you're
sense, right?
building it, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
feel.
I mean, they tell you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, right?
Mm.
And I really think that rings true for us.
It does. And statistically speaking, franchises are more successful over long term because there is a system, there's a process, there's a testing that's being done
Correct.
across so many locations instead of just one doing it on your own skin. And if you fail, it's like cost money. Tell me what's in it for you. Like, what's the goal? What's the destination? What are you really after?
Yeah,
What
I mean,
drives
that's
it?
that's a great question. I really think there's opportunity to make an impact, right? And to do that, like, you can only help so many people within four walls, right?
Hmm.
Especially with the type of model that we're running that caps out around 150 people. So our vision is to grow an organization that's going to impact more lives, obviously create more career opportunities for high level coaches and people like that that may not be as business minded. A traditional personal trainer right now, you got to either create your own book of business within a box club, or you can go out and do your own independent studio thing like I was doing before. And that just takes a lot of different skill sets: marketing, sales, team management, hiring, firing. Like, there's all these different things that are outside of the training component. And for us, again, to be able to offer careers for trainers and then impact more people, we want to grow and scale our organization. That could be a moving target, but right now we've got our eyes set on at least 5 units at a minimum, probably more likely 10
Hmm.
if we can. So we're taking a stepwise approach. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew. So one per year for maybe the next 3 to 5 years, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
And Casey, I have a personal trainer and I do group workouts, right? 3 times a week is personal trainer, 3 times is a group part of group workouts. It's almost like I have to pay two businesses what you provide in one. So I wish you were
Sure.
here.
Sure.
But I got to tell you, once the people experience what a true personal training is and that dedication
Mm-hmm.
and how much more can you do when you have somebody who really cares about your performance, it's a day and night. I
Absolutely.
think it's a tipping point when you just don't want to go back. There's
Absolutely.
absolute, I cannot, I'm working out so much harder with personal training than I would ever do it myself. And it's somehow you build a relationship, your buddy, you have somebody who knows how much you can push it. So there's no excuses. They don't care if you have a short night to sleep. And it's like, I know what you can. I have a paper. We can push it out. It's a game changer. And what you're doing is really helping people to discover their own inner strengths, their own abilities, setting up a new standard, what's possible, not just providing exercise or wellness. It's really personal development as well. And that is something I experience in a personal training world, and I never experienced it on my own. Because I'll push it on my own until I feel I stretched it. But when somebody expects from you more than you expect from yourself, it's a different game. It's a really
Absolutely.
different game.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
really
And
love what you're
that's
doing.
some, yeah, I mean, that coaching's all the difference. Everybody does better with a coach. LeBron James, he still has coaches. People that are high level athletes, they need them. You need that set of eyes that can watch over you, hold you accountable when you need it. Go ahead.
No, no doubt, no doubt. I love it. So talking about your business, you
Sure.
really, really stand out when it comes to Google. Google loves you. I search from Florida in your business, in your area, in Billings for personal training. You're absolutely number one choice. If I'm looking for personal training there, I will be calling you first. But
Sure.
tell me how that happened. Like, how did you focus on Google reviews? And tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, Google's a great resource, right? We all use it for just about anything that we're looking for a service provider for. If I need a painter, I'm probably going to go to Google and look for a painter.
True.
it's all influenced by how people in the market perceive you. You can't necessarily fake it, and people can
True.
tell if there's fake
It's
reviews in
authentic.
there and those sorts of things. It has to be genuine, it has to be authentic. We've just been intentional about asking people for their feedback, right? We're doing our best to uphold a very strong training experience and also just the community experience within the gym and relationships between the coaches and the clients and client to client. And really, it's a totally different experience than you're going to get within any other type of fitness facility, I
So
should
how
say.
many trainers do
It's
you have?
it's a very small model, and that's the beauty of it, right? So we have a director of training who's sort of a general manager of the facility. He also holds down about a quarter of the training hour schedule, and
Mm-hmm.
then he's accompanied by two other trainers. So there's pretty much three within there. We might be adding a fourth, just sort of part timer to give people some more flexibility if they're out on vacation or sick, those sorts of things. But yeah, it's pretty much built on a 3-person model.
So that's impressive. 3-person model, and you already have over 90 reviews. Last time I checked I think it was September, you were 62. You just added another 28. So you're killing it there, and it doesn't seem like you're slowing down. You're also, I see that you're replying on most of the reviews. Why did you find replying? That's very rare. You're one of the 5% people who reply on reviews. I know it takes time, unless you use some software to reply on your behalf, but
No, these are all genuine replies. In fact, I personally reply to probably most of them. I think I've had my director reply to one or two. I genuinely appreciate when people provide us that feedback. They're taking time out of their busy schedule and day to go in and leave a review, right? That takes time out of their day and just an extra step for them. So just to show genuine appreciation, we're not leaving a canned response for the same
I saw
thing.
that.
It's,
Exactly.
we want to make it personalized and make sure that they know that this is coming from another human being, right? It's all about relationships. And the more that people can see that, the more that they're going to trust us. And that's really what we're trying to build is a high trust organization that people want to come and be a part of. So it's
And
really just about being intentional about it.
correct. And you are intentional. I see, Casey, that you care deeply about that. How easy it is or how hard it is to transfer that belief to your team, to get them on board.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones who are making me successful, right? They make me look really good. I'm not the one that's in there operating it, but I think there's a good understanding between us, right? And just sort of a servant type mentality where I'm there to support them and they're there to support the members. So we make sure that we hire people that share similar core values and that they're able to run the place as we're providing them. And I think if you find people that are there to help first and they're in it for the right reasons, we're all going to be successful together, right? So it's not adversarial in any stretch of the imagination. We're all on the same team pushing for the same goal. That's to help as many people as possible.
That's beautiful. When I speak with a business owner and I talk about this topic, asking for reviews, because what I see is if reviews are important, your team is on board, everybody cares deeply, you deliver awesome experience. But have you ever had experience that's not so awesome? Maybe somebody hurt himself, or somebody was delayed or late, or something happened that might not earn you 5-star ratings. How do you manage those? And because a lot of business owners ask, like, I don't want to ask my clients for reviews. What if I get 1-star review? What if they're not perfect? Then it's going to be staying on my reputation forever. Do you have that belief, or you're just ignoring the fact that even the one review can show up?
I think we just hold ourselves to such a high standard, right? And in every situation, we want to go above and beyond and just really customer service the things that people might have issues with. So we're trying to be ahead of it if we can, but we value their feedback if we're not. Like, let's say that maybe the schedule's too full and they can't find their sessions. Like,
Correct.
we're going to help address that in the best way possible and really try and find something that's going to help them out.
Got it. Have you ever get bad experience, bad feedback?
We actually had, I believe, one review in Billings that was left as I think maybe a 2 or 3 star, and my director at the time took it very personally. He wasn't a fan of being given a moderate review, and it was, I think, honestly, the wrong fit for the type of facility that we run, of a bodybuilder in terms of like how he wanted to work out and do his programming, and that's obviously not what we offer as sort of our core program.
We have beautiful.
So, anyways, entrepreneurial life right there in the forefront.
There you go.
So, anyways, yeah, he just wasn't a great fit for the type of workouts. He wanted like 4 or 5 days a week, kind of body part splits. We do more total body, athletic based training,
Yep.
really simplified for the adult type of market that we serve.
Mm-hmm. And did you manage to talk to the client who leave a bad review, reverse it, or how did you? Because you have shiny stars, it's all 5 star, or it was just
Yeah,
got
that was
buried in a bunch of good
and
ones.
honestly, I think Google actually values when you get maybe a non 5 star review, right? Because
Yeah,
it
it
almost
shows
makes it
authentic
seem
and
more
real.
real.
Yes,
Exactly. It goes back to that authenticity. So we're okay to have a couple of those on occasion if they do show up. Obviously, we're going to do our best to maybe get the feedback to make any necessary corrections within our business and flush that out. But in that unique situation, we didn't feel like there was a need to make any changes to how we operate or how we service people.
that's incredible, Casey. I think people are crying to find out how much business do you get from Google itself. Like this is all great, it's shiny stars, it's badges on your shoulder, your first page on Google, but does this drive any business? Like, and how much? Do you get leads from Google itself? And do you measure it?
Yes, absolutely. So obviously, it's going to be a little bit more challenging for us to get a direct measurement because a heavy part of our marketing strategy is digitally based, right, through Facebook and Instagram, which a lot of people
Yeah.
use. And sometimes people will start there, they'll get awareness from us on social media, but then they'll look us up on the website. Google's going
Mm,
to push people to the website as well, right? So
absolutely.
when we get people into our CRM software, we're going to see just as a website as the source.
Hmm.
We don't necessarily know if it was directly from a Google search, if it was
Sure.
from a Facebook ad, it could have been a sign that they saw with our web address. So hard for us to say for sure, but Google does send us some statistics, right? And shows,
Number of clicks,
visibility
directions,
and
calls,
number
and
of clicks and calls and things. And yes, we get a handful each month that are actually going to call the facility. And I would say we get maybe 2 leads a week that show up from website, right? And
mhm,
that could be from the variety of different avenues and sources. And to me, it doesn't make a difference which one's which, but we do want them at
absolutely.
the end of the day to be able to, if they do want to check us out, find more information, see those 5 star reviews. And I think that's only going to help enhance their decision making and the buying process.
No doubt, it's credibility. Nielsen study did a survey. They spent $3 million asking 30,000 participants with a simple question: who do you trust when it comes to making purchasing decisions? Number one choice is recommendation from people. It's like your friends is not going to recommend you something. He's going to mess you up. Second is other people opinion posted online / reviews. Because if everybody talks about it, it means it's good. But also Google takes that as the same criteria. That's why you're on top, because you have more reviews, you have better rating, and you more recency. And that's why they prioritize you more than anybody else out there. So you first have to be friendly with Google, and
Absolutely.
then it's going to give you position in front of everybody else. Talking about ads, you said you're running ads on Facebook. So is there anything else that you find that really gives you edge? Everybody can run the ads, but not everybody's happy with that. How did you find running ads for your business? Is it successful? Is it sustainable? Are you happy with cost per lead? Are you happy with conversion? What do you see in those avenues?
Sure. Yeah, results are going to vary, obviously, by market and how mature each one of those are, right? You might have a place like Billings where we're a little bit more removed from the sophistication that many others have had in bigger markets for a number of years. So we've got maybe less competitors that we're bidding against to show up at people's feeds and just sort of the language and the marketing around what we're doing and the offers that we're promoting. So our cost per lead's been very favorable. And obviously, that all plays into your cost per acquisition, which is the more important number because that gives you
Sure.
the ROI number, right? We have a lifetime
Correct.
value, we've got a cost per acquisition, and then we get a return on our investment, so to speak. So we've been using digital social media marketing since day one. It's obviously one of the channels that we use pretty heavily and kind of consistently, at least even to keep just sort of top of mind awareness so people are seeing our stuff
Mm-hmm.
quite regularly, right? Especially the market that we serve. They're all on social media,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook particularly, maybe
Instagram.
a little
Yep.
bit more on Instagram, but our age demographic's a little bit older, so we don't really dive into TikTok or Snapchat or any of those other platforms. Maybe at a later time, but for today, we don't really use
There we go.
those. So yeah, we've had good success with them. I will say that conversions are pretty low, right? I mean, it's a lot of lower intent because it's a disruptive platform, right? People are there
Yeah,
to see
it's
pictures of
impulse
their
buying.
friends,
But when it comes
events.
low, what
Yep.
would you put the number on? Like what low means for you low?
In terms of percentage, just an average would be around 10%, right? So for every 10 leads, we're maybe going to convert one of those into an actual paying member. So that's a lot of lead follow-up. It's a lot of conversations, longer sales cycle, those sorts of things. Generally, when we get people from like website, we're going to have a much higher
Correct.
chance of converting them, right? Because they're high intent. They're looking for a solution. They want to find you. They're maybe researching you more. Yeah, I think it's important to have as many channels as you can, as long as you're able to, manage that marketing activity and
Sure.
you have the budget for it, right? But if you're low budget and maybe don't have the money to spend thousands on digital marketing every month, I think really leaning into reviews and optimizing your website would be an important avenue.
Got it. So you're getting about 10% and you're still happy because you keep running it. So you found a math works for you. So that means you're getting good cost per lead that can justify conversion. But there's one more component that people are not aware of it is retention, right? It seems like you are capable of retaining clients. So is there anything specific you're doing to retain people you get as a members? Do you pay attention to that? Do you measure it? Do you coach your team? What's
Absolutely.
your take on retention?
Yeah, retention is probably one of the most important levers on business growth, right? You don't want to have just a revolving door where they're coming in the front and then going out the back, or you're never going to get out of this cycle of trying to market and sell and market and sell. So as a benchmark, we're shooting for about 95% retention month over month,
Oh.
right? So maybe losing 5% per month. A really strong month could be 3%.
So 20 to 30 months out of each member.
Correct.
Lifetime.
Yep. That's exactly correct. Yep. And so our model caps out about 130 to 150, depending on our membership mix and schedule. But that would mean if you're losing 5%, you've only got to replace maybe 7 members per month. The math seems to work out in that regard. If we start trending more toward the 8, 9, 10%, then obviously we've got to ramp up marketing spend and do a lot more sales. And I think at that point, we feel like we've got enough of an issue that we need to address how we're servicing people within our business, right? And so we really try and do a good job with setting expectations and goals with people.
Got it.
And pushing them along their journey. So checking in with them more frequently, sitting back down with them, reassessing, right? And setting out that next mile marker, milestone, so that people have something to pursue or chase. And if they fall too far from this facility, if they're gone for let's call it like a week or more and we don't see their face, we're going to get on the phone and call them directly. That's really the strategic advantage, I think, for us as like a personal training facility with a smaller number of people. It's not like a larger group training facility where there's maybe 5, 6, 800,000 members, right? That's a lot of people to keep track of, and you'd be on the phone all day if you tried to find people. So people are paying us a more premium amount, right? They're coming in for a higher level of service. So we want to make sure that we are delivering on our promise, so to speak.
No doubt. When it comes to leads, so you're already good on acquiring leads. Do you mind sharing what would be costing you now cost per lead? So people can put all together, because we have great retention numbers. Honestly, I think you're leading the industry, and one of the reflection is your retention is directly reflecting your quality of the service. Quality of service is reflected on Google. Google is showing you and rewarding you for that. Even people who are checking you on Facebook might verify how good you are on Google. Because I know I do, my wife does. Every time she's seeing something, either she's gonna go check your reviews, and even your Facebook ads might not work as well if you're 3-star rated business on Google, right? It's all connected.
Exactly. It all ties together, right, in some form or fashion. And we'll do organic posting on social media as well, just to kind of show the inside of the facility and people working out. And so maybe somebody starts with an advertisement and then they bounce over to our page and they see kind of the pictures of people smiling and working out, and hey, those people look just like me. And then that leads them to the website. It's kind of all webbed and tied together, right?
It's
so
never one thing to make
good
decision.
focus on everything.
So in cost per lead, what is your happy medium? What is the range that you'll be happy to keep getting these cost per lead?
Yeah, so I mean, our goal objective would be to get a cost of acquisition near sort of our monthly membership average. So the first month
Beautiful. Pays for
that we
acquiring
have
a
that
member.
member in, we're basically going to break even, right? So let's just use
Great KPI.
kind of a round number of like $300, right? For a first month's membership. That'd be on the low end, but let's just pretend that it's $300 for twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
If we're converting 1 out of every 10 members, that would translate down to about a $30 cost per lead.
Yep. Yep.
We see better than that. We see at times, depending on the offer, we've seen sub 10, more often, high teens. And we've been over that $30 mark, and we still get an ROI, but it's maybe not as optimized as we would like to see it, right? For the given market that we're in and what we've performed with in the past. And we've got some marketing agencies that we use that are more expert in that than I am.
Sure.
I can help look at the numbers with them, but they're kind of left to their responsibility to optimize the ad sets for us and switch things up if something's not performing.
And you're brilliant when it comes to servicing clients. You get your team on the same. You mentioned culture and fit and believing in the same things, serving clients. Today, it's not easy to find people, partners, right employees, A players to join you. Culture is, when they say it, how people behave and nobody's watching. It seems like you're not always there, but you can count on your team to really deliver. And reflection, again, is public presence. Is there anything you're doing differently when you're hiring people? Like, how did you bring your team on board? How they're so engaged? How come you can trust them so well? Or is this something that you struggle as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend I have it all figured out. I've seen
it's always way to improve it.
7 years. Yeah, I've seen good employees and bad employees. I've seen, ones who maybe aren't so honest on their time cards, and I've seen others who go above and beyond. And really, that's a value trait of somebody, right? It's a personality thing, I think. And so really trying to get at the root of people and see what their motivations are, right? And where do they want to be? And part of that comes down to, if you're going to do right by them and be a trustworthy owner, manager, whatever you want to call it, they're going to want to do right by you as well. So we try and find people that are just good human beings at heart. And that's not always easy to identify in one singular conversation, but over time, you can kind of see what their true colors are. Obviously, we've got some really good people now, and anybody who comes into the system, they have to jive well with the team, and they have to meld and mend together, right? Yeah, and if somebody's just not a right fit, like, you can sense that almost immediately, and you're probably doing a service to them to send them back and find the next man who's going to step in there. And we want people that are batteries included, right? Success driven. They don't need to be motivated. They're the ones that are just have an internal drive to succeed and be good. Have a competitive spirit about them, right? But they also
competitive, but not ego-driven. Not me, but team.
Not ego-driven. Yeah, that can backfire. I've seen that as well, right? Where ego takes over and it's all about me and I'm the star of the show, and we want the clients to be the star, right? And we want them to feel that way. So it's being people-focused and success driven, I think, are probably the two qualities that we really look for in people, right? That they want to work hard, they have a good work ethic, all that stuff. And I think cracking the code on that is a bit of an art. I don't think there's just like one personality test you can give to people or an interview question that you can flesh that out with. I think it's different case by case, but if you can find those people, man, it's worth it to really treat them right and keep them as part of the organization, since they really drive the success of the business at the end of the day, especially in a personal training concept where it's so people focused, right? And that's what I try to explain to people. We're not looking for people that can dig holes and turn gears and those sorts of things that are behind the scenes. Like, they are so outwardly focused and interacting with your customer on a daily basis that they are your product in a sense, right? And so you've got to find the right people if you want to be successful in this industry.
I love that, man. So one of the last questions I want to ask you, and this is very, very valuable. How do you keep eye on the business? What KPIs, what tracking metrics you measure? Like, how do you know you are on track? What do you measure on a daily?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very numbers focused. Obviously, the numbers don't lie. That tells you where you're strong, where you're weak, and what you need to improve. So We have scorecards that we look at weekly. Those are a very simple set of metrics. Think of them as like leading indicators or actions, right? So on a weekly basis, we can make adjustments on that. And then we'll take a look in the rear view mirror and glance at like a month picture, which is going to give you a more accurate representation, because sales cycles might take longer. You might have a lead 1 week and convert them 2 weeks later. So on a weekly basis, we are looking at how many leads did we get, right? How many starting point sessions, which is like our consultative selling process, right? How many of those did we book? We're looking at how many members did we convert, how many people canceled, and then so that would be like on the acquisition side. And then on the retention side, we're looking at generally how many people were checked in on. So we call those pulse checks. And that's just hey, how are you doing? What's going on this week?
You just stop coming, they're about to cancel. So you want engagement.
Yes. Yeah. We're looking weekly at our attendance reports, looking for any red flags in there, people that might have been missing for a week or maybe dropping off in usage. We're also looking at how many accountability sessions did we run. That's a more formal sit down, 15 to 20 minutes to set up that next game plan for people. So we're trying to get a set number of those done per week so that we stay on target, right? And make sure that we're getting enough of them in regularly. And then we're looking at obviously cancellations, right? How many people canceled that week or gave notice to, right? We require 1 month cancellation. So that's it. Those are all we look at on the weekly basis. Those, again, are things that can be corrected each week. If we get off on track, what's our plan to get back on track the next week, right? Do we need to ramp up our spend, change our offer to get more leads? Are we following up soon enough or in the right ways to get people to book appointments? Is our sales process going well enough to sell people into memberships? And then are we doing all those actions that we think are important to keep people, right? So we try not to get too convoluted and look at 15 different things. I think we've got it down to about 8 numbers, 8 or 9. And then on the monthly, I've got a lot bigger detailed breakdown on like membership mixes and book rates, set rate, show rate, all those different elements. And then we get a better snapshot of our retention for that month, memberships, things like that. So
that's great, because not many people even know all the KPIs, not even track it. And do you meet with your team and discuss it together, or do you just absorb it yourself and then you make decisions?
It's a combination of both. I'm an engineer, so I'm more a numbers guy.
I can tell you are a number guy.
Yeah, it totally helps me make sense of the world. So I look at those quite frequently. And then I relay that stuff down to my director of training. He's the facility manager. He and I look at the weekly scorecard together during our weekly meeting, where we talk about what's going on, issues, things like that. And then basically just him and I look at the numbers together.
So both of you has the same picture of what's going on, and you can make ideas and make modifications on action steps based on the numbers happening.
Correct. And I forgot to mention the one that you talked about earlier is we also look at reviews, and that's a weekly number as well.
And in the fitness world, it works. Like you guys are all about measuring every little thing about the body and fat and muscles and bones and water and like exercise, workout. It has to be, right? What you're doing for yourself, you got to do for client. Listen, I have literally 4 quick out questions. This is literally one word answers. It's a fast response question. So first mind that comes on top of your mind, who do you follow in the industry? Somebody who's podcast, influencer, coach, person. Who is the guy you follow? Who comes to mind?
I've got a handful of them, but I do like Eric Bach. I think he provides some good information. ERICKBACH. Very good on like the body composition side. Joel Sanders. He's with Exos, Team Exos. Performance coach. Very sound in programming principles and just knowledge bombs. And then obviously everybody follows Mike Boyle, an industry leader. So I think those would be at least the top 3 guys that come to mind. I know you asked for one, but I gave you 3.
Beautiful. One thing is, name 2 people who would you like to learn from? So for example, if there is a way I can bring them on a podcast and ask questions, something you would love to learn from, like somebody who is a leader in something and you says, oh, I want to know what this guy do. Who would that be?
That's a great question. I'd have to think on that for a minute. Like I said, I do admire what Exos has built over the years, much bigger high performance organization, but I do like Mark Verstegen. I think he's got some really great insights into the industry and is somebody I would look to as a leader for sure.
That's awesome. What's your favorite book?
There's a really good book, just bite-sized chunks of like business information. I really enjoyed listening to the guy. He's a character. I believe it's called The Road Less Stupid.
I
That
know
was a
Keith Cunningham.
recommendation from our CES. Yes, Keith Cunningham. That's right. So you're familiar with him. Yeah, he's great. Straight shooter, really provides some great business information on how to run things. So that to me is some ear candy, and I find it pretty easy to listen to the audiobook on drives.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He is a fun dude. I attended
Yeah.
all his seminars. He is incredible. And a
Oh,
bonus
great.
one. If you're
Awesome.
starting over, somebody who is on brand new, what would you do differently?
Oh man, that's a hard question because I think everything is set up for a reason, right? The position I found myself in, like I couldn't have dreamt and created this path if I tried to design it on my own.
There we go.
I think honestly, all the trials and stepping stones that I've had to go through with seeing what it's like to, train in a one-on-one environment and drum up my own clients in a box gym to having to painstakingly create my own product in my own independent studio. Like you could skip that and go right, to franchising and buy a business from a box, but I don't think I'd be nearly as effective or appreciative of the
Mm,
journey if I
mm.
didn't have to go through that first. I think going through those hard
Everything
things
happens for
is
a
is
reason.
important. Yeah, so I don't know if it's a great answer, but I probably wouldn't change it.
I love it, love it, love it. That's same answer I would give it as well. Because
Yeah,
every
awesome.
lesson we got, it was there for a purpose and a place, and it serves us. Casey, it was wonderful having you
Absolutely.
on the podcast. I love learning from you, and I believe everybody else will as well. I love learning from you, and let's stay in
Sounds
touch.
great. Yep, sounds great. Appreciate it, Andre.
Awesome. And that's a wrap on another impactful episode of Muscle and Money. A big thank you to our guests for sharing their insights. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on the journey to build more successful gyms. Remember, today's insights are just the beginning. Apply what you learn and keep pushing boundaries. For more inspiring conversations and expert advice, subscribe to Muscle and Money on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us a review and share with fellow gym owners on the mission to elevate their business. Until next time, keep flexing those entrepreneurial muscles. Here's to your success in and out of the gym.